Earlier this month, I met with a remarkable constituent, Kevin Powers, who was named the 2017 Sanctuary Volunteer of the Year for his contributions to the Stellwagen Bank National Marine Sanctuary. His work with an ongoing seabird survey is helping to understand the food web necessary to support migratory birds as well as whales, dolphins, fish, and other sea life. He has provided me with a letter on his work in Stellwagen, as well as the broader contribution that Stellwagen makes to the coastal economy of Massachusetts and to understanding and protecting our incredible marine resources. And by unanimous consent, I will ask that this letter be included in the record. Dr. Lautenbacher, how do marine sanctuaries, with their citizen science support, help scientists from NOAA and other research institutions better understand the ocean and our marine resources?
The sanctuary office itself has a number of experts that are involved and understand ecosystems, understand fisheries management, understand the various factors that are involved. So there's a good deal of science that goes into understanding it. There also is a good deal of conversation and connection with the local experts who are out there in the water with fishermen and people who are with the local universities. So there's a web and a connection of people trying to provide the best information available at the time. And it can come from a variety of sources, as I've just mentioned.
So, Stellwagen Bank National Marine Sanctuary in Massachusetts was just named the #1 best place to see aquatic life by USA Today. Nearly a decade ago, a study found that tourists spent more than $125 million to travel to and visit the Stellwagen Sanctuary in 2008. How, in your experience, Admiral, do marine sanctuaries contribute to the coastal economies of communities they are nearby?
They're enormously effective. The total that we have is about $8 billion a year in terms of development and providing, additional income and secondary effects in the coastal areas where they are. So overall, I can't claim that everyone is equal, but overall, that's what they get. And normally, things like recreational fishing and commercial fishing does even better. You're into the $100 million, $150 million range for a year or so that you're getting in these various areas. It's a reasonable. We're talking serious money. It's not something to throw away. And that's why these gentlemen are here.
So in your opinion, is it in America's interest to have a system of marine sanctuaries and protected areas, Admiral?
Yes, it is. It is in our interest. It is in the world's interest. It is in our interest as well, definitely.
Based on their studies of where whales are congregating, Stellwagen Sanctuary staff and NOAA have partnered with the International Maritime Organization to redirect the Boston shipping lanes and protect endangered whales off the coast of Massachusetts. The shift cuts the risk of vessel collisions with critically endangered right whales by an estimated 58% and all other baleen whales by 31%. Dr. Lautenbacher, do marine sanctuaries generate information about the ocean and marine life that is important for commercial activities as well? Yes,
they do. And they accept it from the local sources as well as their own experts, or at least they're supposed to. Okay, I'm speaking for the time that I was there, since I left in 2008. I'm sure that there are still some very well-meaning people running the organization, but that's the idea. The idea is to get the information from the fishermen, from the people who are on the water, and the people who use it for various purposes, whether it be recreation or for whale watching or recreational fishing. All of that counts.
And in your testimony, you mentioned that, quote, the ocean today is not healthy. From your perspective as a former NOAA administrator, how do marine sanctuaries help the ocean regain its health?
They help by having a structured regime that's monitored by a management staff as well as the advisory board and the people that are there and the good folks that you listen to that are sitting next to me that are using those sanctuaries. Now, having that managed process, and if you go back and look at most of the, well, every paper that I've seen that's responsible, if you're able to control to a certain extent fisheries at the right level, you can re-stimulate even areas which have been fished out, supposedly. You can't go too far because you store the chain, the food chain, food web, which is very hard to restore once you do that, like it's happened in Canada. But in the United States, we've not reached that point yet. But still, if you preserve areas and say reduce or at least monitor, and the National Marine Fisheries Service does that and it's set up, you will regain the structure of the fishery. And so you can actually recover based on the kinds of rules that are set up if they're set up carefully and they're monitored.
The hearing record will remain open for 2 weeks. During this time, senators are asked to submit any questions for the record. Upon receipt, the witnesses are requested to submit their written answers to the committee as soon as possible. We thank each of the witnesses for their participation here today. And with that, this hearing is adjourned. Thank you all for your
Thank you, sir.
cooperation and your help.